Good evening and welcome to tonight's coverage of high school football on North Penn Television. You are tuned into Comcast Channel 28, Verizon Channel 29, or our NPTV YouTube Live. I'm Eric Jesberger alongside Prasham Jobin-Prucha, preparing for a Suburban 1 League non-conference Week 2 matchup between the visiting LaSalle Explorers and home North Penn Knights. Prasham, Week 2 has much in store for us tonight on the broadcast. As Week 1 is out of the way, the butterflies are gone, the preseason preparation has now translated into game-time action, the rust is all worn off, and the play under them Friday night's lights is ramping up and in full swing once again.
Yeah, you talk about the butterflies and getting the rust off. Kobe Barrow probably had a lot of butterflies before last game, being the quarterback, coming back to football after a year off, but put up 55 points with that offense. So I'm sure those butterflies are gone.
Yes, sir, indeed. And both teams walk onto the field tonight with Week 1 matchups carrying a victory already under their belts and a 1-0 start to their 2019 seasons. However, the score and the story of those games were much different. And especially for tonight, as the games get ready to get underway, North Penn coming off of a 55-34 final score win last week against their early season foe, the Neshaminy Redskins, here at Crawford Stadium. LaSalle was on the road last week. They're on the road again tonight as they came off of a 15-12 win over Emotep Charter. And after LaSalle won the coin toss tonight, they deferred, so the Knights in their white jerseys and Columbia blue helmets on the right side of the screen will receive, while the LaSalle Explorers on the left side of your screen in their navy blue uniforms and gold helmets will kick it away. And this kick will head down to your far right side of the screen. Kalani Eaton, the story of last week, will receive, and he'll look to get things started for North Penn as he's able to fight through, pick up at least a couple 5 yards after the initial tackle attempt. And coming in to wrap him up at the end of that play was number 9, Tyson Goldstein, the senior for LaSalle. And as the Knights head onto the field tonight, they're getting ready to start off their first drive of the ball game.
Yep, and the offense for the Knights will be Kobe Barrow at quarterback. As you said, the story of last game, Kalani Eaton will be at running back. RJ McNamara, the fullback, the senior. Justin Petro came off an injury last game. He's back in to be the wide receiver along with Evan Spann. The tight end will be Corey Kime. And the offensive line will be Trey Evangelisto, Cameron McQueen, John Durkitz, Nolan Vresby, and Darren Miller.
The senior quarterback, Kobe Barrow, will hand it off to the sophomore Kalani Eaton on the first drive attempt of the ball game. However, the LaSalle defensive line will swarm him up on that and take him down for about the same length, maybe a 1 yard loss. Kalani will step to the sidelines as the Knights get ready for 2nd and 10.
And important to note here that Kobe Barrow will be throwing into the sun once again as this first quarter gets started.
With 2 men in the backfield, Barrow up at the line of scrimmage. He will hand it off, and he'll find his fellow senior, Evan Spann. However, on the initial tackle attempt, number 3, Eric Ford, was able to meet him in the backfield, and fellow Explorers will come back in aid to wrap up Spann for a loss on the play, as it will be 3rd down and long for the Knights. The starting defense for the LaSalle Explorers tonight, the defensive tackles, number 52, Ryan Savage, and number 57, Sam Graham. The defensive ends, Timothy Barrett and Paul Jennings. The linebackers, Dylan Traynor, Tyson Goldstein, Abdul Carter, and Chris Thompson. And the defensive backs for the Explorers, Brad Vespi, Eric Ford, and Jalen Hanton. In the shotgun is Barrow, with McNamara to his right. Barrow steps back, and he'll look downfield. However, the whistles will come out before Barrow even had a chance to launch that ball, as we'll get the verdict here on the call after this flag. And offsides against the Explorers, as after a great start to the defense, able to keep them at the line of scrimmage for 3rd and 10. Now you give them a free 5 yards and even a closer chance to gain that first down.
Yeah, and we're in Week 2 now. We can't be making those Week 1 mistakes such as that.
Yeah, we saw a little rust there in the first quarter of last game. However, definitely the second half, the Neshaminy Redskins and the North Penn Knights definitely cleaned up those early season rust on the play calls. As Barrow will look downfield here on 3rd and 5. He will launch it towards the logo. He'll find Kenneth Grandy. However, Kenneth Grandy, the senior, and one of the also big names we mentioned plenty of times last week on the broadcast for the Knights. This throw with just a little too much juice on it, out of the reach of Grandy, and it'll be 4th and 5 here as the Knights will have to punt the ball away.
Yeah, and Kobe Barrow going deep to Ken Grandy once again over the middle. Happened twice last week. One time it connected for a touchdown, and the other time it was batted down by a Neshaminy defender, or else it probably would have been another touchdown.
We saw a very similar play, as you mentioned. It was the slant route towards the far side of the field where Kenneth Graham was able to pick up that ball quite at the very similar position at the logo, and then he was just going downfield. And right here, it will be a flag on the field. Both teams pointing to either side. However, the ref will give a false start against the Knights. The home crowd thought it was against LaSalle. Unfortunately, it won't go in their favor as it will stay 4th down. Almost another shot in the foot there from the Explorers, if that was against them there. So Span will be to your far right side of the screen, getting ready to punt it away. Standing at about the 45 for the Explorers. They'll be ready to receive this punt away. Span will get it off on the high reception. Grandy on the attack, and Kenneth Grandy will lay out number 2 with the reception. Brad Vespi, he didn't wave it off, and Kenneth Grandy on the hunt. He stayed hungry and didn't lay anything off on that tackle.
Yeah, I don't think he saw Ken Grandy coming from his right side. He kind of went wide, Ken did, and it was a great tackle right there to hold him to a minimal or no gain.
Vespi going to feel that one after Kenneth Grandy coming out here. Unfortunately, heading into that second half, he was feeling the cramps. He wasn't able to play the rest of those 3rd and 4th quarters last week in their week 1 matchup. However, right there, he's going to come out and put an exclamation mark on this game, starting off the defense. And for LaSalle's first drive, they're going to get some free yardage on the far side of the screen. Samuel Brown, the main name last week in the matchup against Emotep Charter for the Explorers, with the late game touchdown to seal the deal and put LaSalle in the lead. And so he'll take the first carry on LaSalle's first drive and pick up great yardage, a first down, as they stand at the 50-yard line. The quarterback, Jack Machito, will hand it off to number 6, Jalen DeVos, as he will get about a gain of 3 before linebacker Nate Brown is able to meet him and wrap him up and bring him down. The Explorers offense led by number 15, the quarterback and senior, Jack Machida. The running backs in the backfield, number 6, Jalen DeVos, and number 26, Tim Millman. The wide receivers, Liam Kennedy and Rob Tatum. The tight end, Matthew Bose. And the offensive line is Matt Zoglio, Robert Belay, Kenny O'Kane, Ryan Wills, and Jake DeLuca. Machida will immediately run off to his right. He will get the throw off on the run, and he will connect to number 5 on the reception. That's Liam Kennedy, the junior, with the receptions along the sidelines. He'll be pushed and finished off out of bounds, but a first down. He'll move the chains for the Explorers. And LaSalle getting things going here. The offense working quite well and in a groove. North Penn's going to have to respond very quickly as LaSalle's working farther and farther into the Knights' end of the field.
Yeah, and Kenny has some words after that one for the North Penn defender.
In the I formation, it will be handed off to Brown. He'll find a hole and then make a quick stutter step, and he'll find even more yardage. However, to save the day, as it was all green and an end zone right down his way, Evan Spann able to catch the shoelaces and bring down Brown to spare that early touchdown and end zone visit for the Explorers.
And we look at the defense for the Knights. Will be Corey Kyman, John Durkis at the defensive tackle position, RJ McNamara and Ben San Felice will be the ends. The linebackers will be Evan Spann, Ethan Spann, DJ Fisher, and Nate Brown. And your secondary will consist of Ken Grandy, Jalen Edwards, and Kevon White.
Machida in the shotgun. His pass intended on the vertical, a quick pass off looking for Brown on the far side of the screen. However, out of the arm's reach of Brown, and it will fall incomplete and dribble along the sidelines. So 2nd and 10, standing at the 19-yard line. Prashant, we saw Neshaminy come out with some deep balls and looking for the long ball towards the end zone. Are you expecting anything here from LaSalle? I mean, they've been in quite a groove.
Well, I mean, they've been in a groove, but it's been running the football mostly for them so far. I would keep continuing to pound it until the Knights show they can stop it.
In the shotgun, he'll do a very similar formation, and we'll find Brown once again, as this will pick up plenty of yards. However, after that play, it looked like a North Penn Knight on the ground, shaken up. And a stoppage of play as he's reaching up towards his head, as the trainers will head onto the field. And unfortunately, not really even halfway through the first quarter, but it will be senior Evan Spann face down on the turf.
And that will be a huge loss for the Knights if this keeps him out for the whole game. You're talking about Evan Spann, two-way player, wide receiver, even got some reps at running back last week, and a key player at the linebacker position.
I mean, Evan Spann was definitely a key name coming into the season, a big impact throughout all of last season in the 2018 season for the Knights with some interceptions. And you talk about a two-way player. You see even Coach Beck getting right out there looking a little frustrated after Spann having to go down. A key name we've seen in plenty of the practices, in film, a lot of the scrimmages leading up to the season. A key name you do not want down, especially this early, not only in this game standing in the first quarter, but also week 2 of this whole season.
And talk about how much this is going to impact the offense. Evan Spann split out wide for most of the plays. Ken Gurney's more in the slot. This might put Ken out wide, and I think Ken's better in the slot position.
Evan Spann was able to, all he needed was help from the trainers to get up. He is walking off the field on his own power. However, a bit of a hobble, as we will hope he's okay. Not too sure what side he was favoring, perhaps his leg or the head. It was unfortunate to tell, but as we have to get back to the action here, LaSalle's getting back to it. They're knocking on the door of an end zone visit here in the first quarter on their first drive of the game. And it will be Jack Machida looking to lead the Explorers into the end zone. However, more flags here. And it will be offsides against the Knights. So shooting themselves in the foot here, as Evan Spann will get attended by the trainers on your close side and sidelines of the screen. We will look to see the Knights step up here and try and lock down the Explorers on this first drive of the game here as we stand with 8 minutes and ticking on our first quarter of play.
And the Knights looking sloppy here to begin, not only offensively but also now defensively with penalties.
In the I formation, Machida up against the line of scrimmage. He'll hand it off to Brown on the far side of the screen. He'll find room with the stiff arm, and he will trickle and tiptoe his way into the end zone along the student section for LaSalle. And it will be Samuel Brown for the LaSalle Explorers, the senior, standing at 6'1", who will find his way into the end zone. And the Explorers will strike first on their first drive of the ball game here at Crawford Stadium. At 7 minutes and 37 seconds, the Explorers will put up 6. And heading onto the field, number 38, Jake Gandolfo will look to put up the extra point for the Explorers and give them an early 7-0 lead on this game here at Crawford Stadium. The pressure being felt to his right. Gandolfo able to get it up, and the Explorers will tack on the extra point for 7 total points on their first drive.
It's 7-0 LaSalle with 7:37 to play in the first quarter.
The LaSalle Explorers head coach John Stenmeis coming out with the hammer going and running right down the gut of the Knights here on that first drive. What was the game plan you felt LaSalle coming into? In the final score, 15-12, they had last week. Not so much of an offensive game. However, coming out right here on the first drive, they're going to lay on the hammer on North Penn, who brought and put up 55 total offensive points. It looks like it's going to be a gun show once again of the offenses.
Well, this might be able to set up, or LaSalle might be trying to set up the long pass as we saw last week. I'm sure that's on Coach Beck's mind right now about stopping the long pass. So LaSalle might be trying to run the ball a little bit more and force some of those secondary players to come help and then air it out deep once they get those secondary players.
Yeah, as we mentioned, the Chamonix came right out and almost showed off their arsenal and any kind of tricks in their back pocket with the long ball early on in that first drive. It was successful for the Redskins, however, then it didn't quite work out late in the game once North Penn was able to sniff it out on the plays. However, right there, LaSalle will keep those plays in their back pocket, not really throwing the ball much except for a couple slants. However, right here, North Penn will find a break, and R.J. McNamara will receive. However, Justin DePietro was the one. Number 12, the senior, came back from the injury last week, and he was able to break free with more yards and get the Knights all the way up to about midfield, standing at the 48-yard line. And after giving up a early 7 on the board, North Penn responds right back. Justin DePietro, the senior, putting the Knights already in excellent field position.
But let's look at some of the bad blood already. Already 2 plays we've seen. I didn't see who the LaSalle defender was, but pushed Justin DePietro's head a little bit almost into the ground right there.
Justin was looking up to get a little hype, and LaSalle was like, we're going to relax that. So definitely the home crowd was letting LaSalle hear that a little bit. And right here, we'll look to see the action take care of itself. In the I formation, Barrow will put the handoff to Kalani, but the LaSalle Explorers defensive line and linebackers already sniffing that out. and will put Kalani down in the backfield. As the Knights unable to gain a yard, it will be 2nd and 10. Corey Kime will check out, and heading onto the field will be Kenneth Graney and RJ McNamara, the seniors who made multiple end zone visits last game. Prashant, what can you say about RJ McNamara, another two-way player on both sides, offense and defense, and the impact he's brought to this team as a 4-year member of the North Penn football family?
Well, you just said a 4-year member of this team. That just shows how good of a player he is, and he's a leader. He's a natural-born leader for this team.
And there we go, as the run game will get back into swing. Kalani Eaton, who had over 250 rushing yards last week, he will step his foot in the turf and gain with a boost of speed right through the far side of the screen. Any secondary that was trying to meet him at the line, as Kalani Eaton will pick up a first down, moving the chains. As the Knights will pick up their first down conversion on the ball game tonight and stand at the 46-yard line in LaSalle Explorers territory. And a key note, as you mentioned earlier on the broadcast, Prashant, the sun is setting, a good-looking sunset on the horizon here at Crawford Stadium. However, to the action, they're going to want that to go away. Barrow will do it himself, though. No sunset in the way, as he will head onto the ground using his wheels and able to pick up about 5 yards on the carry. The quarterback doing things, not just a long ball, but also finding his way around the nooks and crannies of the defensive line. And he'll get to the 5-yard line. Standing here, it will be 2nd and 3 for the Knights, looking to respond to LaSalle's first drive touchdown and 7-0 lead. Kenneth Grandy, number 4, the senior, will go on your far side of the screen. However, Coach Beck didn't quite see what he was looking for, as he'll call a timeout and give both squads a breather on their sidelines. The Knights entered this game tonight, their home field of Crawford Stadium, with some swagger after picking up that Week 1 win on this very same field last Friday night against Neshaminy, another early season foe like the Explorers tonight, putting up a whopping 55 total offensive output, quite a show-off performance on the scoreboard, and tallied up 27 total points at the end of the first half of that game. 12 more points than the Explorers put up in all 4 quarters of their Week 1 matchup, and 15-12 victory over Emotep Charter. What can you say about the score difference in that Week 1 matchup, Prashant, and what you're expecting to see tonight? A high-scoring game, close when it gets down to the 4th quarter?
I would definitely expect a closer game. You already saw what this LaSalle defense is capable of with a 3-and-out last possession, and like a stop like that.
We're seeing the run game being very well read by the Explorers. The blitz coming in there, number 52 will meet him in the backfield. Ryan Savage and number 4, Dylan Trainer, in there to clean it up as well. So Kalani Eaton feeling the wrath of LaSalle. The Explorers definitely went and did their homework after that Week 1 matchup for the Knights against Neshaminy, and they're sniffing out early here, trying to answer to Kalani. However, Colby Barrow will look to do it himself as the quarterback, senior.
Yeah, and Evan Spin back in on that last play. Good to see.
2 wide receivers on the far side of the screen, the backfield in the I formation. Barrow will hand off with the left hand. He'll find it, Kalani Eaton again. However, this one will also be knocked down by the Explorers, as a sea of navy blue and gold will meet Kalani Eaton once again at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, you can tell they definitely game plan for Kalani Eaton after that big performance last week. And we'll see if maybe the passing game can get them going now.
It will be 4th and 3, and we saw 2 times last week Coach Beck keep his offense on the field. He'll do it here in the first quarter of our game tonight. Barrow in the shotgun. They need 4th and 3 conversion. Barrow will take it himself. He'll lunge across. Looks like he'll have it as the helmets and arms reach across. Barrow feeling the hit there from the Explorers. And let's see if the chains are necessary to check this first down mark. The refs heading to the sidelines to double check as they'll meet around the ball. I believe North Penn should have it. Quite from this angle, looks like North Penn with the first down. Colby Barrow with his 2nd rush of the game. Looking comfortable in the backfield, trusting his feet, and also getting the plays on the run. The chains will head out, and with very close. Chains will be stretched out. And LaSalle, by inches, will stop the 4th down conversion attempt and will force a turnover on downs. And if you're LaSalle, you saw how hyped they were after that being called not a first down. My goodness, was not only the student section jumping, but the whole sideline and players on the field. If you're the Explorers coming in with back-to-back road games, picking up a close and hard-fought battle all the way back down to the final whistle, that Week 1 victory against Emotep Charter, you walk into a rivalry game tonight, and you put up the first 7 on the board, and with a huge stop there, what are you feeling if you're on the other side of the field right now?
Just keep doing what you're doing right now, and
my goodness, there it is. Samuel Brown will break free, just blowing by Kenneth Grandy on the coverage in the secondary, and Samuel Brown will connect Machida with the toss. He'll find Brown downfield, and on one play, LaSalle will tack on the 6 points, the end zone visit for Samuel Brown, his second already of the ball game tonight, as the senior number 27 will head to the sidelines with plenty of high fives from his teammates. After Jack Machida will show off the long ball, his first deep ball throw of the night, showing off the back shoulder, getting his step into it with plenty of time thanks to his offensive line. He'll find Samuel Brown downfield, and LaSalle will tack on another 7 with this extra point put up by Gandolfo.
And there was
What a
setting
start.
up that long pass after just pounding the ball in your first possession.
You did call that coming out, as the Explorers had that in their back pocket. As we mentioned, they weren't showing their hand early on in that game with the long ball and throwing the pass. Jack Machida stayed patient, and my goodness, what a conversion and what a offensive output the LaSalle Explorers will walk into Crawford Stadium tonight with.
Yeah, this is not the start you're looking for if you're the Knights. You know, you've already had a 3-and-out, now a turnover on downs, and you just gave up the big-time touchdown. Momentum is all LaSalle right now.
So with some frustration on the sidelines from the coaches and players for the boys in white and Columbia blue, the home crowd and the student section still filling up here at Crawford Stadium will look to give North Penn a bit of a boost here, as they will get set to receive the ball off of the kickoff from number 38, Jake Gandolfo of the LaSalle Explorers. So with 4 minutes and 36 seconds on the clock here in our first quarter of action at Crawford Stadium, LaSalle will come out with the fight and show off a bit of an offensive performance, something different than we saw last week. And looking at the paper, looking at the articles of last week's matchup when they traveled and faced off against Emotep Charter, it was a close game, bit of a sloppy start for both teams. Only 2 touchdowns picked up for the Explorers. However, tonight they will have a different story and tally up 14 points, 1 point off from their total points they had last week, with a total of 15 for the Explorers in that final score in their Week 1 matchup. So with already 14 points on the board for the Explorers here in their Week 2 matchup against the Knights, they're looking a lot better. The offense looking in much more a bit of a groove here at Crawford Stadium. Looking to respond to that will be the Knights offense led by Colby Barrow. He'll get a handoff here to Grandy. However, the ball comes loose and LaSalle will eat it and swarm it up. Kalani Eaton was on the rush. On your far side screen, he found a bit of breathing room. However, the LaSalle Explorers came from behind and was able to punch it out. And it was all navy and gold on that ball once it came down and hit the turf. And my goodness, the defense now right back onto the field for the Knights and the Explorers offense, who have been plenty comfortable here in this matchup so far tonight, will have excellent field position standing at the 22-yard line, knocking on the door once again of putting up a 3-score lead over the Knights.
Yeah, if you can go up by 3 touchdowns before this first quarter even ends, that is a huge momentum thing.
Machida will fake the handoff to Brown. He'll have plenty of time. Now with the rush coming, he'll get the pass off, intended and found. It will be number 3 with the reception, Eric Ford, on your close side screen. But a fumble as the ball came out from Ford, and the Knights will recover. And you saw the hit there applied at the end of that play, as it was number 2, Ethan Span, I believe, with the hit, and also the recovery for the Knights. So the teams will trade possession here. As the Knights fumble, Kalani Eaton slipping out of his arms. The ball came loose. LaSalle recovered. On the next play, Machida found Ford fumbles, and the Knights recover.
Yeah, and Ethan Span just ripped it right out of the receiver's hands. Great play by Ethan Span.
Looked up a bit of a crunch there as the initial tackle was met. Ford then spun around, and Span was right there to lay in another one. Got his arms in, ripped it out, and was able to pick up the loose ball. So the Knights will get a second go here. Barrow will look to make it pay, and he'll find Evan Span on the sideline. Reaching out is Ford, unable to make the tackle, and Span will run it, break free, down, going to 20, the 15, the 10. He'll be brought down at the 5, and the Knights will capitalize off the fumble recovery by Span. And it will be his older brother, the senior Evan Span, laying on the exclamation point, and will get a huge gain of yardage going pretty much end zone to end zone. Regarding field position, they'll stand at the 5-yard line, and the Knights are right back into this game with a huge momentum boost. However, LaSalle's defense will look to try and back up their offense who gave up that fumble and try and prevent a North Penn Knights touchdown here. Span will head to the sidelines for a breather. Don't blame him at all, as he'll be met by some helmet taps and high fives on the sidelines thanks to that huge conversion. Colby Barrow finding his fellow senior Evan Span, and it'll be Barrow looking to lead in a touchdown here for the Knights. And a stoppage of play. The refs' whistles came out as it will be a timeout for the Explorers. Both teams now using one of their timeouts here in this first quarter. We stand with 52 seconds left on the timeout. Just about 2 minutes on the clock here in our first quarter of action. And Prashad, what can you say about the brother duo? Something you don't usually see at North Penn, as you saw Evan Span here back on your screen, able to get all the way to 15, the 10, brought down at the 5. What can you say about how awesome that was, getting to see brother and brother go hand in hand on both sides of the ball to bring the Knights back up in this game?
Well, Ethan Span inserted into the starting lineup for this week. Wasn't in the starting lineup last week. So I'm sure Evan probably gave him some words of encouragement. You know, big brother to little brother. You know, we first start, of course, you're going to have some nervous butterflies, but get the strip fumble to shift momentum. That's big time.
A little bit of brotherly love here as the Knights are looking to do the opposite against their rivalry foe here tonight. The Explorers on North Penn's home turf of Crawford Stadium. They're looking to punch in their first points on the night. It will be handed off to the senior Evan Span once again. LaSalle will be able to get to him this time and bring him down on the far side of the screen. About wrapped up at the line of scrimmage, as it will be second down with 5 to go, the goal line in hindsight for the Knights.
And if this continues for the rest of the first half, I'm sure Coach Beck is going to be talking to his receiving core and to Colby Barrow, saying, all right, they're fishing out the run. We got to air out the ball.
Barrow will apply the mouthpiece and get set to go here for the Knights. 2nd and 5, knocking on the doorstep of an end zone visit. Hand it off to number 15, the big man, R.J. McNamara. Span trying to apply him enough coverage. However, this ball might have come loose once again. LaSalle saying they have it. And my goodness, the Explorers will recover the fumble. Span tried to break open some room along the line of scrimmage. The Explorers applied the pressure. R.J. McNamara with the carry. The ball will come loose and hit the turf once again. And the Explorers will recover the ball. Knocking on the doorstep, 2nd and 5. And the Knights give the ball away.
And that is a costly mistake. You're talking about not only in the red zone, but at the goal line. After a huge play from Ethan and Evan Span to change momentum. And now you have to go back on defense without any points.
I mean, Prashant, we talked about plenty of momentum shifts with the offense show-off for both teams really last week, especially the Knights capping off that 55-34 win. However, tonight, it's the defense is stepping up huge in this game. 3 forced fumbles in this game, and they were all recovered by the opposing teams who forced that fumble. So what can you say about that kind of defensive dominance? Not only forcing the fumbles and forcing the mistakes, both physically and mentally on the opposing team and the offense, but also the fact that they are right there to recover those balls.
Well, I think LaSalle's just doing an excellent job getting and stopping the run offense by the Knights, fishing it out and seeing all the LaSalle players at the ball carrier.
Deep on their own end of the field, it will be Samuel Brown able to break down and give the Explorers some breathing room from their own end zone, as he will pick up a first down for the Explorers, moving the chain as they will stand with a gain of 12. And at the 21-yard line, the Explorers are looking to try and punch in, as we mentioned, and try and put up a third score point in this game already in the first quarter, with 1 minute and 57 seconds and ticking on our clock here in the first quarter of our first half at Crawford Stadium. 3 wide receivers to your close side of the screen. It will be Brown in the slot. And it looked like Explorers, I could hear the coach from here calling timeout, as he did not see what he wanted. It looked to be a bit of miscommunication on the formation.
Timeout.
And the Explorers will call a timeout to save themselves some time and make sure not to give away another ball, as I'm sure they don't want to see another ball end up on the ground tonight, where the Knights could have a chance of recovering and try and get back a little bit in this ball game.
And the third score here would be huge for LaSalle. Go up 21-0 going into the half. And, you know, if you can do that and kill some clock, as they did in the first part of this first quarter, with a lot of running of the football, they can put this game out of reach real quick.
Samuel Brown was all over the paper in the articles we saw in the recaps of last week's game for the Explorers. What have you seen tonight from Brown and his impact, not only with that early first quarter reception from the connection with Jack Machida, the quarterback senior, but also the run game we've seen so far, as he just looks like a menace through the line of scrimmage and this defensive line of North Penn.
Well, doesn't he seem like LaSalle's version of Evan Span? No, he rushed
North
the
Penn's
ball
version,
and
yes,
received
sir.
the ball last week, doing it again this week.
Brown will play block here, and so will give Machida enough room to get this pass off and find Jalen DeVos. And a stick move there from Jalen DeVos. Seabury able to stutter step around the initial tackle attempt from Nate Brown. A flag on the field will come in late on North Penn's side of the field around the logo. And we'll get the verdict here on this call, as Jalen DeVos showing off the footwork there after that reception. The initial tackle attempt from Nate Brown was able to prove unsuccessful on the senior from LaSalle and pick up plenty more yardage there for the Explorers.
Yeah, it's going to go back, though, with the penalty.
The refs will meet up and conversate at around the line of scrimmage. The chains haven't moved, so the ball will come back. So a break there for North Penn, as LaSalle was able to get a quick pass off there, as we were seeing Jack Machida here early on in this game, the senior for the Explorers, wearing number 15 tonight as the quarterback, feeling very comfortable on the run. What can you say about that in similarity to Colby Barrow? Barrow not really having a chance yet to really throw the ball, especially on the run from tonight. However, last week he showed it off plenty. Jack Machida, what does that do for a quarterback, able to not only step back and launch a long ball, but also able to get those quick passes off on slant and quick runs?
Well, I'll say this. The deep ball that he connected with Brown, he was in the pocket, great toss. But not only has he done that, you talk about rolling out. The coverage down the field on the rollouts is really good by the Knights, I have to admit. But he is finding short passes in some tight windows to get to his receivers on the rollouts.
Another Brown, however, for North Penn. Nate Brown, the linebacker, will apply the hit there on Jalen DeVos to wrap him up with about a gain of 2 or 3 yards on that. It will be 2nd and 2 here for the Explorers. A quick pass off there from Machida. He'll find Samuel Brown, unable to make that initial tackle attempt. Number 34, John Dolan for North Penn. And Samuel Brown will find plenty of more yardage, even fighting a North Penn Knight on his shoelaces, as he will hobble for a couple extra yards and be brought down at around the NP logo here at Crawford Stadium, standing at the 47-yard line. And we'll see this once again, Samuel Brown able to fight through, finally wrapped up with 3 Knights having to join in on the tackle. Samuel Brown, the story so far of this first quarter for the Explorers. So as we get down to a quarter seconds left here in our first quarter of action. Hand it off to Jalen DeVos, the senior. He'll find room and apply the hit on there to number 20 of North Penn, Kevon White. Laying down the shoulder and barreling through with Jalen DeVos, as he will gain the first down with a gain of 8. And put the Explorers at the 45-yard line in North Penn territory as the final seconds of this first quarter cap off here at Crawford Stadium. So as the sunset has dwindled away on a beautiful sight here at Crawford Stadium, the band and student section are buzzing. However, after the first quarter of action, it's the LaSalle side of the field and student section, the ones that were hopping most of that time. here in the early parts of our Friday night game.
I mean, the Knights just can't stop anything right now on defense. You're talking about they can't stop the run, and they can't stop the deep balls. You already saw the touchdown. But not only that, they're giving up a lot of yards after, or yak, I should say, yards after catch right now with the receivers on the south side.
Attacking on, in addition to that, I think a key thing we've seen tonight is the yardage after the initial tackle attempts we've seen from the backfield force of Jalen DeVos and Samuel Brown. They're big guys stepping in tonight, and in the backfield, they're going to play a huge factor, as it is Samuel Brown, 6'3", 185 pounds, coming down the throat of the North Penn defensive line, heading into that huddle and grouping up as we get ready to kick off our second quarter. What do you think the message was from Coach Beck and the coaching staff trying to ramp up their defense here?
Well, if you don't get a stop, this game could be over really soon, like I said before. So, not only is this possession key, but all the LaSalle possessions going into the half.
And another name we're going to see here break free, Brad Vespi, the fellow senior in the backfield on the carry. It looks like he was initially touched down. He thought he was still on his feet and was trying to pick up a couple more. However, the refs were able to knock down that. However, a first down once again for the Explorers to kick off the second quarter. The rush game has been a menace against North Penn's defense tonight. Something Coach Beck and the Knights are going to have to sniff out and stop if they want to have a shot for their offense to get them back in this game here tonight.
And then you have to worry about, do they come back with that deep ball like we saw before?
Machida will hand it off as he'll give it to number 2, Brad Vespi. He'll give him another show-off performance and another great gain of yardage. A first down as he'll move chains back-to-back, picking up a quick 21 yards on both carries. And the Explorers already back in their groove. No break after that quick intermission in between the first and second quarter. Machida in the shotgun. He'll step back. He'll look to end zone. He'll then look for Brown. And Samuel Brown will lunge out and make the catch for the Explorers. Samuel Brown all over this in the backfield on the carries. Now heading downfield, he'll receive this ball. Almost like a shortstop there, reaching out, able to get his arms extended and receive that basket catch towards the end zone.
And I said, what a catch. Really what a throw. Under pressure, off balance, and got a great throw off.
And with this carry here for the Explorers, number 27, Samuel Brown, will make his third end zone visit tonight. My goodness, what a story from the senior. Samuel Brown with his third touchdown on the game. And the Explorers are anything but slowing down in this game so far tonight, as 20-point lead. And unfortunately for the second time tonight, a North Penn player will be back down on the ground.
And that's going to be Corey Kime, the captain, defensive tackle now.
Two key names from North Penn tonight. 2 seniors and captains will unfortunately be wrapped up in injuries tonight, as hopefully we already have seen Evan Spann come back into the game. We hope Corey Kime will be back in as well, as he'll head to the sidelines and get met by the training staff of North Penn. However, North Penn has a little bit more to worry about here in this first half of action, as we stand at 10 minutes and 52 seconds. LaSalle looking to put up their third extra point on the game. Gandolfo will get the kickoff. Almost met and tipped away by number 23, Jalen Edwards of North Penn. However, this kick will be good. And the story of the game so far, number 27, Samuel Brown, the sophomore for LaSalle, will have 3 touchdowns tallied up in this game. And North Penn will have to head to the drawing board. And any kind of early game preparation and homework they've done leading up into this game, trying to make this close, they're going to have to relive it, recreate it, and adapt to this LaSalle dominating lead so far in this first half, 21-0. North Penn trying to get an answer here. And we saw last week Kenneth Graney break free with a school record-breaking 100-yard kick return touchdown. He'll be on your far side of the screen. And my goodness, what an answer that could be if Kenneth Graney is able to find himself on another highlight reel and try and tiptoe into the end zone once again here for the Knights on this kick return.
Yeah, and Ken Grandy had a slow or quiet first quarter last week. It was that second quarter where we put that mark on the game.
Gandolfo will take his steps back and get set to kick this away for the Explorers. Going right to left. Grandy and Kalani Eaton on the goal line of the end zone. A ground ball will be off the arms of number 8. That's Danny Harkins for North Penn. However, he'll find some breathing room and able to fight through the initial open gap opened up by North Penn blocks. And Danny Harkins will pick up decent amount of field yardage after that initial reception on what looked like would have been a ground ball hopping up to the arms of Kalani. Harkins was able to pick it off and take it from there. So starting at the 32-yard line, North Penn will look to try and make their first end zone visit on the ball game tonight. Trailing 21-0, it will be the senior Colby Barrow looking to get things started here for North Penn. He will hand it off to Kalani Eaton. However, LaSalle will be there once again, as number 56 was immediately there to meet Kalani Eaton. Patrick Troy, the junior, for the Explorers.
And Eric, be honest with me, have you ever seen North Penn be beaten like this so far in one half or throughout a game? I haven't certainly seen this. Even if you look at the district title game against Coatesville, they were right there with Coatesville for the first half.
This is our second straight season covering North Penn football up in the booth, Prasham and I, and this is
it's just
nothing
not,
like the start we've seen to a North Penn football game. Barrow looking to change things, and he will do so, finding his wide receiver on your far side of the screen and getting tied up. It will be number 20, Kevon White, the senior, on the far side of the screen. So a first down conversion for North Penn, trying to build up a little bit of hype there, as North Penn, we've seen plenty of games, close games up in the booth we have called. However, games such as William Tennant, we've seen kind of blowouts and North Penn able to capitalize. However, so far tonight, took a little bit on North Penn's side. LaSalle gaining some ground, as with the early game lead, LaSalle going to have to hold on to that. The high snap received by Barrow, and then it'll be tied up towards the backfield with about a gain of 1 or 2 yards. Barrow will be met by the defensive line. And Prashant, we talked a lot about the offensive line coming into last game. A lot of seniors exited from last year's team. The offensive line was a bit of almost a game-time decision when we first looked at the lineups and we're seeing the names and we're saying, all right, we're going to see how those guys do tonight. They stepped up huge in the second half. However, tonight's looking a bit of a same story with the first half, where the offensive line isn't quite giving Barrow enough time to be able to work his magic in the backfield.
Yeah, just like that.
Colby will get laid a hit on, and with this pass over, will be intercepted by the Explorers. Number 21 of LaSalle for the Explorers, Jalen Hanton, the junior, will pick this ball off. Barrow will be met with a hit. The pass intended for Kevon White on the far side of the screen. And another forced turnover by the Explorers. Correct me if I'm wrong, Prashant. The 4th turnover forced tonight, as we had 2 fumbles, this interception, also a turnover on downs. So LaSalle's defense stepping up tremendously, just as well as the offense has throughout this game tonight. And the offense will head back onto the field for LaSalle. The momentum, North Penn trying to get a little above it. However, it is all on the far side of the screen. The student section, the crowd, and the men on the sideline and on the field, the LaSalle Explorers, are laying their mark all over this game early on in this first half.
And on that last play by Colby Barrow for the interception, you know, the pressure came real quick, and I understand you don't want to take the sack, but a sack is a lot better than an INT. Sometimes you just got to hold on to the football and take it.
With a gain of 3 on the play, it will be 2nd and 7 for the Explorers. And the man we've seen plenty tonight, there he is, number 27, Samuel Brown, the sophomore, looking to get another reception here and lay his mark on this game, already with 3 touchdowns tonight for LaSalle.
And just look how big he looks out there. I mean, so much better than the other receivers and other players for LaSalle.
Jack Machida will tuck it himself and go on the far side. He'll be tripped up and taken, upended by Nate Brown and R.J. McNamara along the sidelines. As he'll be wrapped up, the clock will stop, but a flag on the field will perhaps bring this ball back, as a holding penalty will be called. holding against the offense. So the Explorers will shoot themselves in the foot there as they will be forced a couple of yards back. As it will be 2nd and 7 to go for the first down, standing at the 38-yard line.
Second down and 17 for the Explorers from the 28.
So 2nd and 17 actually here at the 28-yard line for the Explorers. As it will be Jack Machida looking to put the Explorers into another end zone pursuit into North Penn field territory in the shotgun formation. 2 wide receivers to either side of him, and DeVos in the backfield in his back pocket. Jack Machida will look downfield. He'll look over the middle, and he'll find number 2 with the reception, Brad Vespi, and the hit applied there from the secondary and safety. It looked to be Kenneth Grandy on the initial tackle attempt. Vespi holding on to it after receiving that hit, and will gain even more. 23-yard gain there for the Explorer and senior of LaSalle. Will put them at the 51-yard line, or excuse me, the 49-yard line for the Explorers in North Penn territory. Back in the shotgun once again, this time 3 wide receivers to close side screen. He'll get a quick pass off to DeVos. However, this ball will go right through the hands of Jalen DeVos and fall onto the turf, incomplete, as R.J. McNamara, the senior of North Penn, applying the pressure to Machida in the backfield and forcing that low pass and incompletion. So standing here at 2nd and 10, a much-needed stop, I would say, would definitely be momentum-wise here for North Penn, as if you're able to get an incompletion to force a 3rd and 10 or 3rd and long. That would be much better than having to once again try and answer to a Samuel Brown in the backfield or downfield. Machida will take it himself. Not the answer North Penn wants, as Machida will lunge and he'll gain even more. No whistles yet, as North Penn will then have to swarm him up. And a little bit of extra hits there applied as number 2, Ethan Spann, already with 1 forced fumble and recovery tonight. He tried to go for number 2. However, the whistles will go against the Knights and put LaSalle on the ground for a first down from Jack Machida. First and 10 in North Penn territory. The Explorers will look to adventure into the end zone once again here as the sunset dwindles away at Crawford Stadium under the Friday night lights with 6 minutes and 40 seconds left in our first half of action. Machida was rolled to his right. Another pass on the run. However, this low pass will hit the ground, and a ground ball will just roll up into the arms of Brad Vespi on your far side of the screen, falling incomplete. And once again, we see Machida very comfortable on the run. What can you say about that quarterback? Once again, we already saw him go downfield and launch the long ball with time in the pocket. Right there, he just immediately goes out of the pocket and will look for his wide receivers on either side to his left or right.
Well, as I said before, the coverage down the field on the rollouts is excellent by the Knights. It's just that Machida's finding his receivers short and near the sideline.
Machida will tuck it himself again as Jalen DeVos with the fake handoff. Machida will be the answer, and he will find his way spinning around the secondary as he'll be wrapped up, moving the chains. And on the doorstep once again, the Explorers will stand on the 14-yard line as LaSalle a chance to take a 4-point lead in this game tonight. Prashant, what does North Penn need to answer here if you're the defense? And what is Coach Beck, if he was out there in the huddle right now, telling his key seniors, the leaders, Nate Brown, R.J. McNamara, and the overall defense to try and stop this offensive rush from the Explorers tonight?
Well, they're already in field goal range, so right now you just got to hope you can stop them and keep them to a field goal, because if you go up by 4 touchdowns, that is a hard task to come back from.
Machida will hand off the ball, not taking it himself this time, as he will give it off to number 26, Timothy Millman will take his first carry on the night for the Explorers. And with a gain of 5, the Explorers continuing to gain yardage, not really being met in the backfield. They're continuing to push through the line of scrimmage and at least pick up a couple yards on every drive. That's what a successful ball team does. And for the football team tonight, LaSalle will look to the end zone. Grandy on the coverage, and a one-handed OBJ-style catch attempt there from Rob Tatum, the senior and former North Penn student. Unable to come up with that ball for the Explorers tonight, as he was met in the back of the end zone by Kenneth Grandy on the coverage. So 3rd and 5. This is what, as you mentioned at the beginning of this first down conversions attempt, this is what North Penn wanted. Now they got to step up and answer here to give their offense a little bit of light before heading back onto the field. The North Penn defense will look to answer to a 3rd and 5 here for the Explorers. Machida back. He'll get a quick pass off. He'll find Brown and gain the first down and more as he will lunge across the goal line. End zone for Samuel Brown, the sophomore. Loving the end zone and feeling right at home here at Crawford Stadium. 4 touchdowns on the night for the sophomore of LaSalle, and a 27-point lead for LaSalle in the second quarter of play. And looking to tackle number 28 with the extra point attempt, his 4th of the night. He's 3 for 3 so far, Jack Gandolfo. The snap is held, and straight up through the uprights. So bullseye for the Explorers. Gandolfo's kick, an extra point. The 2 arms go up, and a 28-point lead for LaSalle against their early season rivalry foe. We've seen plenty of matches, LaSalle at North Penn, coming to Crawford Stadium plenty of times to kick off many of the seasons in week 1s and week 2s. However, tonight, week 2 has been all LaSalle. Prashant, what are your thoughts on this game? 28 points for the Explorers. What does North Penn need to do to step back in this game? Before heading into halftime. I mean, we have 5 minutes left.
You can't even say stop Samuel Brown, because right now he's putting in the end zone, but it's some of the other guys getting the ball down the field first. So they just got to stop everything at this point, because they can't stop anything right now. The run, deep pass, rollouts, short passes, they can't stop anything right now. Just stop one thing and then focus on the other.
It's been Jack Machida, the quarterback, leading this LaSalle Explorers offense. Following that up, we saw Tim Millman getting in on the action with 2 rushes. Jalen DeVoe's been much of the carry, but it's been all Samuel Brown, not only with the load in the backfield, but also finding his way into some receptions as well downfield. So this kick away will go to the Knights on the far left side of the screen. Kalani Eaton will look to apply an answer, but LaSalle will lay out Kalani Eaton, number 26, with a burst of speed. Timothy Millman will apply the hit, laying down the gold helmet on Kalani Eaton, pushing him into the turf. And LaSalle will continue to apply pressure on all facets of North Penn's game tonight, as a break for North Penn is what they are in need of. As you saw this kickoff here, Kalani Eaton looking for some breathing room, but LaSalle just barreling down. The blocks weren't there. And 3 Explorers will meet Kalani on that immediate reception. In the I formation, Bear will look downfield. He'll launch this ball looking for Grandy, and almost triple coverage. Grandy was able to find a bit of speed and a boost of speed past the initial secondary. However, a little bit too much muscle from the arm of Colby Barrow. Out of the reach of Kenneth Grandy at midfield. Incomplete, and 2nd down.
And right now, if you're North Penn, you're looking for your Samuel Brown. You need someone to step up and make some big plays, as Brown has done for LaSalle.
Also looking for, I mean, we talk about last week's game, offensive show for the Knights, but really what started it, after a bit of a quiet first couple drives for North Penn, was that Kalani Eaton 80-yard rush all the way down to the 2-yard line. So story in your articles on the Night Crier site from last game's recap, we're looking for a bit of a same story here. Kevon White will get a reception, break through his initial man on the man-to-man coverage, and will pick up about 5 to 6 extra yards after the initial point of reception, and will be brought down at the 45-yard line along LaSalle's sideline, and will pick up a gain of 26 yards for the Knights, and a first down, moving the chains at midfield for the Knights.
And you just look at all the big plays in that first half for the Knights. You already said the Kalani Eaton 80-yard rush. Then Ken Graney came back with a 69-yard reception for a touchdown, and then came back after that with the record-breaking kickoff return.
So we've seen Barrow have 2 very similar attempts for Kenneth Graney downfield, similar to that 69-yard reception. Right here, Barrow and R.J. McNamara will feel the hits after that pass from Barrow, looking for fellow senior McNamara over the middle. It will fall incomplete. LaSalle laying the hits on after. No flags, clean plays. And LaSalle will continue to apply the pressure on Barrow in the backfield. The offensive line has got to step up if you want the Knights to be able to look downfield and give Barrow that opportunity to launch the ball. In the shotgun formation, Justin DePietro close side of the screen. This will be given a fake give-off to R.J. McNamara. Barrow will take it himself for his 4th quarterback sneak carry tonight, as he will gain about 3 or 4 yards on that carry from the senior quarterback. But it will be 3rd down and 7, so a needed 3rd down conversion here for the Knights. We've seen Coach Beck keep his offense on the field for 4th down conversion already. LaSalle has answered that in the first quarter, denying that and forcing a turnover on downs. Barrow will look to try and get it right here on 3rd down. On the run, he will find it and do so to senior Evan Spann, as his first reception back in this ball game tonight will be a pretty significant one here in this first half. A 3rd down conversion, 3rd and 7, and Spann will move the chains for North Penn.
Yeah, you see another drive down the field here, but you got to capitalize that 28-0. We already saw them get into that goal line possession for the Knights, and they didn't capitalize as they got the fumble.
The defense was able to force that fumble. However, the Knights were able to give it, or unfortunately gave it right back, but a fumble of their own. But right here, they're looking to wash that away and try and get into the end zone for the first time tonight. A very similar play as he'll immediately look to the outside along the sidelines. It will be fellow senior Kavan White, as he has his 4th reception tonight, the senior making an impact. A name we didn't mention very much, except for that first half interception on his defensive side of the play last week against the Chamonix. Kavan White, however, showing off the hands and making some catches of his own thanks to the passes and fastballs given by Colby Barrow.
Yeah, he didn't play much offense last week and a lot of snaps on offense this week.
Barrow will step up in the pocket and then tuck it himself. He'll immediately get by initial tackle. Second one not able to be met, and then push through a 3rd. Colby Barrow will bring this home crowd to his feet, as Colby Barrow was able to break by the initial layout attempt from the LaSalle tackle. Then he's able to get by Eric Ford of LaSalle and then lay down the shoulder, the quarterback, laying out a Explorer, the secondary stepping up. However, Barrow will squash him and send him to the ground. That's what you love to see, and that's what North Penn needs. They don't need their own Samuel Brown. They need their Colby Barrow to step up big tonight and find his way and push North Penn into the end zone. Still trailing 28-0. Barrow in the shotgun. Kalani in his back pocket. He'll give this off to Kenneth Graney. Graney will receive the blocks. The secondary coming up. Brad Vespi able to apply the initial hit. And then Graney will be wrapped up, followed up by the Explorer swarming him on your far side of the screen. So with a gain of 5, it will be 2nd and 5 at the 2-minute mark, as the clock will continue to tick here. 1:53 and ticking left before both teams will exit Crawford and head to their side lines and halftime locker rooms. This backfield attempt push from the Knights will be swallowed up, as Kalani Ian will be gobbled up in the backfield by the Explorers, as the sophomore running back trying to match up against the sophomore running back of the Explorers, being Samuel Brown tonight. Brown with multiple end zone visits. Kalani Ian not able to play the impacts he played last game, looking to do so here. Barrow on the run, going to his right. He'll spike this ball and then receive the hit after that, as it was number 4, Dylan Trainer, and number 47, Paul Jennings of the Explorers, applying the pass rush in the backfield, forcing Barrow on the run to his right and forcing the incompletion from the senior quarterback. Kalani Eaton will head to the sidelines, as Evan Spann will re-enter for the Knights. Span has been the go-to guy in the receptions. Prasham and I got to catch up with Colby Bear before the game and kind of just picking his brain a little bit, seeing who his go-to receiver was. He just said, whatever coach gives me, whatever kind of route, I'm just looking for the man open downfield. So Barrow will look for it here. No favorited receiver. He'll look for R.J. McNamara, but getting the arm, an athletic reach there from number 4, Dylan Traynor, was able to force that 4th and 5 incompletion, a force over on Towns, the 5th turnover forced by LaSalle tonight. 2 fumbles, an interception, and now their 2nd forced turnover on downs. And with a 28-0 lead with 1 minute and 7 seconds left in our first half of action, LaSalle looking to punch in one more exclamation mark on this game with their offense led by the quarterback, number 15, senior Jack Machida.
And if I'm LaSalle, I'm thinking big play down the field. You've already punched it in quite a few times with the run. Maybe set up that deep ball, and this is the time to use it.
Looking like an opportunity here in the shotgun. Machida will hand it off, playing it safe. He'll give it to Samuel Brown, the impact on this game. However, number 23 on your side of the screen for the Knights, able to apply that hit. Jalen Edwards, the sophomore, on your close side on the sidelines, laying out Brown and forcing him into the turf for about a gain of 3 for the Explorers. So with 42 seconds and ticking left in this first half of action before both teams will head to their locker rooms, it will be a 28-0 lead, and LaSalle looking to punch in one more before entering halftime. Machida will give it off to Brown again on the far side. However, it's Kenneth Grandy, the senior, for the Knights, stepping up big as Brown it looked like he had the blocks he needed for the initial secondary of the Knights, but Kenneth Grandy was able to sneak in behind him, wrapping him up, taking him down from the shoelaces and bottom half, and will push him into the turf and dirt of Crawford Stadium. And with 7 seconds, LaSalle will just relax, and it looks like they will head to the sideline and wrap up our first half of action. So after LaSalle putting up a commanding 28-point effort in our first half of action here at Crawford Stadium, the home of North Penn, LaSalle looking pretty dang comfortable here in week 2 as they put up a 28-0 lead in the first half. Stay tuned for second half action. I'm Eric Jesper alongside Prasham Joban-Putra. Stay tuned for second half action here on North Penn Television. As the Explorers look to tack on more in their lead, the Knights will head to halftime looking to try and answer to the 28-point deficit. Stay tuned for the second half.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening and welcome back to tonight's coverage of high school football on North Penn Television. You are tuned into Comcast Channel 28, Verizon Channel 29, or our NPTV YouTube Live. I'm Eric Jesper alongside Prasham Joban-Putra as we get set to kick off our second half of high school football action in the Suburban 1 League non-conference Week 2 matchup between the visiting LaSalle Explorers and the home North Penn Knights. The Explorers in their navy blue and gold helmets tonight, the Knights in their white and Columbia blue uniforms, and Prasham, after a first half of action that seemed to be all the visitors being the Explorers tonight, adventuring into Crawford Stadium and laying their mark on the first half. A 28-0 lead for the Explorers, and it's been the Samuel Brown story so far for the Explorers, putting up all of their points on the scoreboard tonight at Crawford Stadium. What can you say about the offensive dominance we've seen so far from the LaSalle Explorers tonight, as well as the defense, as it seems to be pressure coming nonstop all at both the offense and defense of the Knights' opportunities tonight?
Well, you always hear it. If you win the battle in the trenches, you're going to win the football game. And so far, LaSalle has won the battle in the trenches, stopping the run on defense and buying enough time for the quarterback, Machida, on offense to get the ball downfield and opening up gaps for Samuel Brown running the football.
The trenches being the line of scrimmage ultimately where the offensive line of the Knights hasn't been able to step up as they did last week in the second half, most prominently in the Neshaminy Week 1 matchup the Knights had, where the offensive line was able to give players of the Knights such as the sophomore Kalani Eaton and the senior quarterback Colby Barrow enough time to work their magic both with the long ball and also the footwork to get some rushes going downfield for the Knights. However, that has been anything but the story so far in the first half and the match tonight for the Knights. It's been LaSalle's Samuel Brown working his magic in the backfield and also downfield receiving some receptions. And as you mentioned, the quarterback, the senior, number 15, Jack Machida of LaSalle, finding Brown, finding DeVos, and other explorers downfield, as well as with the easy handoffs in the backfield to allow the explorers to flourish here on opposing territory and put up 28 points in that first half. Brashawn, we also mentioned plenty times, and the highlight of the first half was also the turnovers and the forced turnovers as well. 5 total forced turnovers by the Explorers, 2 being fumble recoveries and forced fumbles, 2 being turnovers on downs, and an interception also to cap it off. What can you say about the defense as well, and what the North Penn offense needs to do to change the story of this game so far and their ultimately 28-point deficit overall in this game?
Well, in the last possession before they had the turnover on downs, they were moving the football, and not by running it, by passing it. No holes for Kalani Eaton and Evan Spann to run the football, and their pass game has been decent. You know, they're working the football down the field, first down by first down instead of getting that big play that we saw last week.
So Coach Dick Beck of North Penn in his 18th season coaching the Knights football squad might have had his stories of these games where early halves have not gone their way and the score ultimately goes in favor of the opposing team, but I believe for the time we have been covering North Penn football and commentating and even being at the games in the student section and up in the booth covering the game, we haven't seen anything like this where the opposing team has walked into Crawford Stadium and laid their mark on the field with a early and dominating somewhat lead in the first half. However, as we get set to kick off the second half, the game is nothing but over yet as the LaSalle Explorers optioning to defer after the initial coin toss win before tonight's kickoff. They will receive the ball to start the second half and get their offense on the field to start off their first drive of the second half tonight, looking to tack on to that 28-0 lead they were able to put up in the first half of action. So as the Explorers get set to step back and ramp up back onto the field, they are led by quarterback number 15, Jack Machida, the senior quarterback who will look to try and work his way back downfield. We haven't seen much of the long ball tonight from Machida, but we definitely know it can come out at any point with some back pocket options and some trick plays LaSalle is looking to try and show off here in the second half and keep that high-scoring lead for the Explorers. He'll find his favorite man, Samuel Brown, along the sidelines, who will tiptoe for a couple extra yards after the initial coverage from Kenneth Graney will prove unsuccessful to disperse that play, as Brown will pick up some yardage and pick up a second down here with 5-yard gain to kick off the drive for the Explorers. And unfortunately, stepping off sides will be Hicks of the Knights. So 5 yards will give the Explorers that first down, moving the chains for the first time in the second half. And LaSalle is right back where they want to be, pushing the chains downfield and allowing their offense to get into a groove here with Machida in the shotgun. It'll be Brad Vespi in the slot and 2 more wide receivers to your close side of the screen. Jalen DeVoe is in his back right pocket. Machida will step back. High snap received. He'll give it off to DeVos, and he'll find his way before being met by Nate Brown just about in the line of scrimmage. About a gain of 2 for DeVos as he will be wrapped up on the lower body by Nate Brown, the senior, applying the hit As you see that in slow-mo, he's able to just tangle him up. DeVoe staying on his feet just before fellow North Penn secondary and linebackers will be there to cap off that play. And it looks like a call against LaSalle. However, we'll bring that ball back and push it back even farther for the Explorers. So the flag will not do the Explorers justice. Both teams definitely cleaned up the early sloppy play and the penalties we saw in the first quarter. Going to the second quarter, they were much cleaned up. Well, right there looks like a quick penalty against both squads. Will play in favor of the opposing team. DeVoe's will transition to Machida's left in the shotgun once again. He'll step back, receiving the snap at the hip. He'll find Vespi, and he'll find room. Getting by Nate Brown just a little bit before Brown was able to grab the shoelaces and bring him down at the heels. As Vespi, with the burst of speed after receiving that pass, he's able to pick up a little more. As you see, it was number 5, Liam Kennedy on the reception, rather. A quick vertical pass there from Machida. And LaSalle is once again in business. Stepping back, Machida will launch. Line drive, he'll find number 16 on the reception, as it will be Justin Machida, the brother of Jack Machida, the quarterback. Brother finding brother. And a first down for the Explorers, as they will pick up their second first down conversion of the second half. 1st and 10 at the North Penn logo here at Crawford Stadium, as the Friday night lights are shining with just a black sky, the night sky, shining on this game. Machida will step back, and he will look downfield. However, laying the hit on, it will be Ethan Spann, the sophomore, laying on the hit. The first sack of our ball game tonight. And Spann will step over Machida after applying that hit. And Prashant, a huge hit there applied. Jack Machida looking downfield. The long ball looked to be an option. However, Spann had other ideas.
Yeah, Ethan Spann having a big-time game for the North Penn Knights. Already came away with a fumble, almost 2 fumbles, and now a sack right there.
A forced and recovered fumble in that first half, giving North Penn a little bit of life before, unfortunately, the Knights would give it right back to LaSalle in that first half. That is why LaSalle is keeping North Penn scoreless on the board here on North Penn's home turf tonight. This will be handed off to Kennedy once again. Kennedy will find room. He'll stiff arm and find his way past the initial backfield of number 24, DJ Fisher. And Kennedy will find more. And a great run there from Kennedy as he was able to push around 2-3 tackles almost before being met and wrapped up by number 34, John Dolan, in the back, the secondary. Standing at the NP logo, Machida steps back. He looks to his right. He'll launch the ball far and will be able to beat the arms of Kenneth Graney, trying to disrupt that conversion opportunity, but it will be successful for the Explorers, moving the chains downfield as he will find number 5, Ian Kennedy, once again. Kennedy laying his mark on this game. We haven't seen Brown touch the ball since that first touch in the second half. Ian Kennedy making his name known here at Crawford Stadium now in the second half of action. Brown in the backfield. He'll take this handoff from Machida, and he'll find room, continuing to pursuit through the line of scrimmage, the Knights' defensive line, and even more, as Nate Brown will be able to receive Brown in his arms. Nate Brown with the tackle, as the Knights are looking to try and answer to both the run game and pass offense from the Explorers. They continue to drive with in this second half. Machida in the shotgun once again tonight. He'll give this off to Brown. Brown will find space, and he'll clear the 20, the 50, the 10, and jog his way into the end zone, tiptoeing around the pylon. Samuel Brown, the sophomore of LaSalle, will meet his teammates. And my goodness, what a story from Brown tonight. Just laying his mark and keeping the North Penn defense and secondary in his tracks tonight, as he will find his way into the end zone for another consecutive time tonight. How many times is that, Prashant? As Brown made his way into the end zone tonight, leaving no night in his way before finding his way into the end zone and across the goal line tonight.
Yeah, that's 5 touchdowns.
Jake Gandolfo also being successful on the extra points. He has his fit tonight, and you see Brown once again just a burst of speed through the line of scrimmage, a second burst of speed through the secondary. As number 34, the only answer for the Knights, John Dolan, was unsuccessful to even get his arms on him, and Brown back into the end zone for another appearance tonight for a LaSalle score.
Yeah, 2 rushing touchdowns and 3 receiving touchdowns for Samuel Brown.
I mean, you talk about a two-way player on both sides of the ball, playing offense and defense, doing coverage for the defense, and then making his way into the end zone for the offense. But talk about a two-way player for the offense, where he's not only a menace to the line of scrimmage, we're pushing through, as you mentioned, the trenches, winning those fights from the backfield and the running game, but he's just finding his way through the secondary as well, pushing downfield. Jack Machida feeding him all day, and Brown with no answer from the Knights.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably the best performance I've seen by North Penn or in a high school football game that we've covered since Aaron Dixon of Coatesville. I think this would be a better performance.
Kalani Ian unable to come up with this line drive kick, as it will go about off his shoulder and then into the end zone for a touchback. So the Knights offense will head onto the field. The only thing that the Knights need to step up right now is a score to try and bring this crowd, home crowd, back into it, as a packed Crawford Stadium student section trying to bring some life into them as well. As a quiet crowd is something we, especially up in the booth, are not used to hearing here at North Penn. 35-0, the Explorers lead. Colby Barrow looking to try and change things up here in the second half. He'll hand it off, and he'll find with space. Number 25 for the Knights. He'll push down, tiptoeing before being brought down out of the field along the sidelines. The sophomore Donovan Williams will receive his first carry tonight and will make an impact with it for North Penn in this first drive of the second half.
Yeah, big time run right there. Hopefully trying to shift some momentum, but something to notice on the sideline. Corey Kime does not have his jersey and pads on, so he will probably remain out for the remainder of the game.
And finding space here is Kalani Eaton. He'll push down the sidelines. The fellow sophomore backfield menace for North Penn last week. He'll try and do some damage there, as 2 back-to-back first downs for the Knights backfield. The sophomores, Donovan Williams and here Kalani Eaton, making an impact through the line of scrimmage. Running from the right part of the pocket, Donovan Williams doing it before him. Now Kalani Eaton making another impact on this game here in the second half for North Penn's offense.
And you go back to last week, they were punching the ball up through the middle, and they tried to do that in the first half and it didn't work. Right on those last 2 plays, trying to go to the outside, and it worked. Let's see if they continue to do that.
Going to the outside, this time on your far side of the screen instead of your close side. It's fellow senior of Colby Barrow, the quarterback, the senior R.J. McNamara, as he will receive the ball and make his way for another first down. So 3 straight first downs on 3 straight plays for North Penn. The first time tonight we've seen this offense get into a consistent groove. They're looking to tack on a 4th one here and possibly an end zone touch for North Penn.
Well, they already went to the red zone twice but did not capitalize. A fumble and a turnover on downs.
The I formation, it will be Kalani getting enough room. He'll find his way along the sidelines before getting swallowed up by LaSalle, as they were all over him once Eaton got past the line of scrimmage and was able to find room down the close side of your screen. But Kalani Eaton stepping up, the O-line stepping up even bigger for Eaton and the backfield, giving them some space and giving them some time to see their options and able to pick up some yardage, something we didn't see in that first half quite at all.
Yeah, another run to the outside, and it seems like Coach Beck is going to continue to do that, as it has been working.
Nate Brown coming in late to this play. He'll get on the line. One lone wide receiver to your far side screen. Barrow will look for him, and it will be right through the hands of R.J. McNamara, right up the middle on the slant play. Kenneth Grandy was that initial lone wide receiver going towards the end zone. It gave some space for R.J. McNamara. However, Barrow's throw would be just a little too high. McNamara turned around quite to find that ball already on him. And unfortunately wasn't at his chest, a little above the numbers and above his helmet and unable to be brought in for the Knights. So with that ball falling incomplete, it will be 3rd and 1. So we'll see what Barrow has in store for us here. It will be handed off. Kalani Eaton, correction, Evan Spann, the senior, will pick it up, but he will be brought down into the dirt pile in the backfield. 3rd and 1 for the first down. The Knights will be losing yards on that attempt there. A loss of 4, 4th and 5, and quite ultimately no other choice here than with a end zone in their sight to go with it on 4th down.
And here it is again. You got to capitalize, and you're in the red zone, or at least close to the red zone. Have to capitalize and score here.
4th and 5, the student section bringing some life here for North Penn. Or a stoppage of play and a timeout for the Knights. Coach Beck will relook over this 4th down conversion, something which is crazy to say. We have not had this kind of situation where North Penn trails by so much, but it's ultimately, it may only be the 3rd quarter, but with this kind of lead for LaSalle and the offense showing anything but slowing down, this may be a must-needed conversion for North Penn. Not only physically in the game to try and get a score up on the board, but also mentally. With morale along the sidelines, you need something here for just a bit of a spark in this game.
Yeah, you got to score here, like I said, and capitalize on good field position. But after this possession, when you get the ball back, there's only one guy right now who you can look to win this ball game, and that's going to be Kobe Barrow, because you can't run the ball too much and chew off some clock. You're going to have to throw the ball. So we're going to have to see if not only if Kobe Barrow can produce when it's clutch time, but also Ken Grandy. We haven't talked about him a lot. We've seen 2 passes go over his head. Let's see if they can incorporate him into the offense.
Barrow in the shotgun on 4th and 5. He'll step back. He'll look to his left. Forced out of the pocket. He'll run it. He'll tuck it and be met with a hard hit. However, I think the spin off the initial tackle from number 4, Dylan Traynor, will give him enough room and enough push to get across the first down, and it will do so. First down for the Knights on a 4th and 5 conversion. They'll get a new set of life, a new set of downs, knocking on the door of their first end zone visit tonight. So with Barrow stepping up to the line of scrimmage, it will be in the I formation for the backfield. It will be fake of a handoff to Ian. He'll look. He'll be hit as he throws. This ball will be off the fingertips of number 3, Eric Ford, almost into the arms of number 23, T.J. Mickham. The pass intended for Evan Spann in the end zone. The ball will fall incomplete. And once again, you talk about the O-line needing to step up, not only to give enough time to get the pass off, but once the pass gets off for Barrow, he's taking some licks tonight. And you talked about last week, if you look at a quarterback's jersey, you can tell about how much they've really played, or quite negatively for an offensive team, how much he got hit. Barrow's jersey is looking a little dirty right now, and that's not what you want at all here early on in the second half.
And to be fair, he has rushed the ball quite a bit on that incomplete pass right there.
Pass intended for R.J. McNamara, unsuccessful. But as you mentioned, Kobe Barrow with the run game, he had it right there for that 4th down conversion. You love to see the trust he has in his feet. However, it's all coming from the pocket, not giving him enough time from the offensive line, where Barrow can't make the big play and go downfield for one play, one end zone visit.
Yeah, the offensive line's got to give him some time, because we've seen Barrow fit the ball through some tight windows. You just got to let those receivers get to those windows and let him throw the ball.
3 wide receivers on your far side of the screen. R.J. McNamara to his right. Barrow will look to his right, and he'll find on the reception Kevon White making another reception tonight. Believe that's number 7 on the night here at Crawford Stadium. Kevon White, he's been the name and the go-to guy so far we've seen for Barrow, especially along the sidelines, as he'll have a conversion there and a first down for North Penn.
Yeah, and I wonder how healthy Evan Spann is right now. You know, he is playing, but he's the number 1 target for this for Kobe Barrow, and we haven't seen a lot of him today.
A gain of 8 on that reception by White. It will be 4th and 2, so another 4th down needed conversion here for North Penn to keep this drive alive. And immediately some jumps and a little hesitation there from the defense. It looks like this will be against the offense, but we'll get the verdict here in just a few moments. from the officials tonight. Huge call here. False start against the offense. And the frustration from the Knights sideline, most prominently being Colby Barrow, the quarterback on the field, and even more head coach Dick Beck for North Penn, as a 4th and 2 will now be brought back to a 4th and 7 with 40 seconds and ticking on our third quarter of action. Barrow, however, will stay on the field looking to lead a 4th down conversion and try and get into the end zone. It will be received. A 1st down conversion as Justin DePietro, fellow senior of Colby Barrow, will make a reception tonight. Coming back off an injury last week in week 1, he'll make the reception and a huge 4th down conversion for North Penn, keeping this drive alive. A fresh set of downs, putting the Knights in the red zone, standing at 1st and 4, and a 1st down for the boys in white and Columbia blue.
And I'm expecting a run play here as Donovan Williams checks in and Ken Granny checks out.
In the I formation, that's Evan Spann all the way in the back. He'll receive the handoff and push his way not through. My goodness, what a hit applied there by number 22 late on that play. Abdul Carter coming out of nowhere, it seemed like, through that line of scrimmage, where it looked like Evan Spann had that window. You saw a bit of the end zone gap open, but meeting him would be number 22, Abdul Carter, to lock that down and lay him out to cap off this third quarter of action. So as the Knights limp into the 4th quarter, Evan Spann looking a little beat up after that hit applied there, trying to get his way to the end zone. It will be flipped field position to the end zone, and if you're in that huddle right now with Coach Beck and Colby Barrow conversating with the fellow seniors and the offense, what's the discussion? Down 35-0 on your home turf in week 2, heading into the 4th quarter.
Well, you're probably telling them, let's get this touchdown on one play to begin this 4th quarter, and then get this ball back as soon as possible and start to make this comeback run.
The student section and the band will be jumping as the field positioning and the ball will shift from the right end zone to the left. So the student section will be at hand to witness, as we are hoping a North Penn score here, their first of the ball game tonight. As we stand here in the 4th quarter ready to kick off and go underway, Colby Barrow will lead his Knights onto the field. The offense will look to try and punch in a ticket on their first offensive push tonight, and what ultimately they're looking for is a comeback story here in week 2.
And what a story it would be if they can come back.
Colby Barrow looking to get things started here, as the Knights will head up to the line and get ready for battle here at the goal line. LaSalle has done a great job locking down the run game tonight. Can they step up again? Barrow will hand off. This is Evan Spann on an option and attempt number 2, but LaSalle will answer once again and deny the playbook of Dick Beck and the Knights offense to punch in this end zone ticket. And you've got to think, everything North Penn has tried to do, they've had to earn. And quite ultimately, they haven't really earned much. As a scoreboard would note, 3rd and 1 here for the Knights. You got to think that if they can't get in here, they're going to go for it again on 4th down.
Well, they have no choice but to go for it at this point.
In the I formation, Barry will shift. Applying some tackle. Barrow will keep it to himself, but we brought down in the backfield. Ball comes loose.
I think it'll roll
his
down.
knee will come down. Thankfully for North Penn, Barrow, unfortunately getting laid out in the backfield, he was able to get his knee on the ground before that ball came loose, because LaSalle, once again, already with 5 forced turnovers, he was all over that ball again, and quite ultimately would have took back possession.
Yeah, and Barrow shaking up on that play. I think it was staying in, but he came up hobbling a little bit.
See that hit applied his face mask. His face mask ate the ground here in grass of Crawford Stadium, but he'll have to shake it off. 4th and 1. The Knights will push, but LaSalle will answer. Is it enough? The refs will answer, and a touchdown for North Penn, as the Knights will fight and battle and claw their way across the goal line. Colby Barrow limping to the huddle after that handoff. But ultimately, the Knights will finally tack on some points tonight. A 6 on the board here in our 4th quarter with 10 minutes and 38 seconds on the clock. extra point here needed for the Knights, as Colby Rivera will get set to set the snap. And the junior Daniel Moon will get set to kick away, looking for the extra point for the Knights. And Prashant, what did you see different in that? Actually, correct me, we're going to get a quick stoppage of play here as a flag came onto the field against the offense. So this extra point will get brought back a couple yards. But as I was mentioning, Prashant, what did you see different in that drive ultimately? It's been, as I mentioned, the Knights have been clawing for any kind of field position and any points tonight. They've been unsuccessful all the way up to the fourth quarter. On this first drive of the fourth quarter, what did you see different tonight where the Knights were finally able to battle their way into LaSalle's end zone?
Well, I think to set up that touchdown was the outside runs, as I said before. They're not trying to punch it up through the middle. They're more trying to go to the outside, and they've had success. And then once they got closer, punching it through the middle.
This kick will get away from the junior Daniel Moon. However, it will not be through the uprights. Not able to put this kick through. So the Knights will only put up 6 on the board as the night of frustration will continue for the Knights sideline and head coach Dick Beck. In his 18th season, though, we know Coach Beck might have some tricks in his back pocket to pull off something we haven't seen in a while. A Knights deficit of so much here in this final quarter action with 10 minutes and 38 seconds on the clock. The Explorers lead 35-6 as the Knights will get set to kick it away once again to the Explorers. And LaSalle will look to make another exclamation point on this game and an end zone visit. As in his 5th season of coaching, John Steinmeitz has led his LaSalle squad in addition to the head coach. The quarterback, number 15 senior Jack Machida, has gone hand in hand. The play calling has been more than successful tonight for LaSalle. They no doubt did their homework on some of the North Penn attributes and positives they were able to gain off of week 1. Ultimately, a dominating put up here in the first half. It will be a onside kick here looking to go in favor of North Penn. Grace McNamara will be on to kick this and will look to chip it in favor of North Penn. A chip kick will roll out of bounds as number 2 on the pursuit with Ethan Span of the Knights. However, it will chip out of bounds and LaSalle will conserve and keep possession.
And important to note that even though they got the touchdown, it took off 8 minutes and 45 seconds off the clock. So even though you got the touchdown, not what you want to see.
The time is of the essence. And Prashant, we have talked about, especially last week when we were getting down to the draining minutes of the game against the Chamonix, we saw North Penn able to eat up clock, as in multiple years they have done that. However, it looks to be on the sidelines. Another sight you don't want to see along the track, Colby Barrow getting treated by the training staff, favoring his left leg, looks to be his left ankle. The senior quarterback, who we were hoping would lead a Knights comeback here tonight, is now getting trained and met by the trainers.
Yeah, he came off after that tackle on the keeper, hobbling around. He stayed in, and even when they got the touchdown, he was hobbling off the field, and so he had to go back to set the PAT. But Ryan Zelt, I mean,
the freshman,
they think he's going to be a star here at North Penn eventually once Colby Barrow graduates. So we'll see what he can do.
Not the ideal situation, but it looks like Zelt might have his opportunity here in week 2 for North Penn in the 2019 football season. As a freshman, we can assume we're going to see Zelt here if the Knights are able to get back onto the field with the offense. However, with LaSalle, they will do anything but stop rolling and cruising in this game. They won't lay off the gas pedal as they will continue to push downfield. The rush game proving successful again as they'll pick up a couple yards here on 2nd down and 6. The Explorers on the left side of the screen in their navy blue uniforms and gold helmets have been everywhere on the field, including the end zone, too many times tonight if you're a North Penn fan. It will be given off to number 1. That's Maya Howell, who will take this going from the close side of the screen all the way to your far side, opposite side of the screen, along his own sidelines of LaSalle. As he'll take this carry and pick up a couple yards, being about 4 on the rush. 3rd and 2 for the Explorers, as a third down conversion here for a first down is what they'll need to keep this drive alive and get a fresh set of downs. In the shotgun formation, he'll step back and hand this off, giving it to the backfield, number 26 on the run. He'll pick up the first down. Timothy Millman on the carry. As he'll pick up the first down, moving the chains into North Penn territory for the Explorers. As you see, the LaSalle Explorers, the boys in navy blue and gold, continuing in the pursuit of points tonight at Crawford Stadium. Another high-scoring game we've seen at Crawford Stadium. However, this time it will be for one team, and that's the opposers and visitors tonight. So, Prashant, what has been the keynote you've seen LaSalle come into tonight, where they walked into halftime with a dominating 28-0 lead, and they have avoided any note of that being even possible of a North Penn comeback?
Well, they had the perfect game plan as far as what we saw last week. The deep ball constantly beat North Penn last week. So what they do, they ran the ball, and then they set up that deep pass, and they just constantly did that over and over again. So they got the big lead, and now they're just punching it through the middle to kill some clock.
The quarterback, the junior Gavin Daly, stepping in as the quarterback for LaSalle in place of Jack Machida, who we assume just exited tonight as he made his mark plenty on this game already. Gavin Daly will make his mark as he'll get a rush in there as the quarterback for LaSalle, picking up plenty more yardage and the first down, as the Explorers will stand at 1st and 10 with 7 minutes and 30 seconds left on our 4th quarter of play tonight. Daly will look downfield and then fake it, giving a handoff to Howell in the backfield, number 1,
And
the freshman for LaSalle. And it looks like a ball came loose.
But
Perhaps
LaSalle's ball.
it looked like Howell immediately got that ball stripped and trying to get his foot down on, or his knee rather, down on the ground to stop that play. The Knights were able to force the ball loose and onto the ground for a second time tonight. However, LaSalle this time will recover and keep the ball and possession. And I think a key note in that here standing in this 4th quarter of action tonight, something we haven't seen, and we only saw in the 1st quarter last week against the Chamonix, was North Penn trailing. So you talk about Colby Barrow, and coming into that game, he only trailed in that 3rd drive, I believe, where the Knights were able to put up their first points on the scoreboard against the Chamonix. Tonight, he didn't have the lead at all. He had it plenty. He had it from the 2nd quarter on last week at the Chamonix. However, tonight, the O-line and the Knights offense as a whole was unable to prove successful as they trailed from kickoff and on in this ball game tonight, where the student section definitely feeling this loss as well with some early exits.
Nothing good to say if you're a North Penn fan or on the North Penn team. You have injuries to your captain and your quarterback. You didn't capitalize on scoring chances. You didn't
capitalize on forced turnovers you got in favor of the defense. The offense unable to step up, giving the ball away even at points in this game.
You did not win in the trenches. When you had momentum shifts, you did not capitalize. Nothing good to be said if you're on the North Penn side.
Senior Mike Marasco making the tackle there on the backfield rush from LaSalle. However, the Explorers will continue to push their way down the field and even stay on the field, keeping their offense on here for 4th and 4. A 4th down conversion opportunity for the Explorers tonight. They're first on the game, as I don't believe they have punted very much either tonight. So 4th down conversion. Daly in the shotgun. He'll receive the high snap and hand it off to Howell, going on the far side of the screen. North Penn will meet and send him out of bounds, laying the hit on your far side screen and all along the sidelines, as Howell unable to pick up the 4th down, or 1st down rather. So the offense will change it. Check out this hit in slow-mo. It's Kenneth Grandy. A frustrating night for all the seniors of North Penn. Kenneth Grandy, however, still staying on the gas pedal and applying the hit there on the freshman Howell and forcing that fourth down conversion to be unsuccessful and a turnover on downs in favor of North Penn. So with 4 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock and ticking in our fourth and final quarter of action tonight, Ryan Zelt will step on the field for the Knights in his Knights quarterback debut, handing it off to fellow underclassman Kalani Eaton as he'll receive the handoff and run on your close side screen for a couple yards gainage. And I think what you want to see is just a pass downfield if you're a North Penn fan. Just some kind of light in this game. It's a chance for the underclassmen to step up, and for Ryan Zelt, a chance to show off what North Penn's future is looking like a little bit as the Knights now just get set to prepare for week 3. Zelt will hand it off, and Donovan Williams, a fellow underclassman, will find his way through the initial line of scrimmage and coverage at the line of scrimmage for the Explorers. Donovan Williams will be wrapped up and taken out of bounds. Zelt with back-to-back handoffs, and he'll find fellow underclassmen to receive the carry load from the backfield. So a North Penn first down will be picked up for the Knights. As with 3 minutes and 30 seconds left ticking on our clock, the Knights are looking to try and get into double digits here tonight, as that's the only positive outlook we can have in this game. 35-6, the Explorers lead here at Crawford Stadium. In the I formation, Zelt will get a pass off, and he'll find number 19, Seth Walton, with the reception. The sophomore with the catch, a little bit high above the helmet, but a great reach there from the sophomore to reel that one in along the sidelines, gaining and receiving the hit after that. But a great catch there from Walton as he'll be wrapped up and even lunge across, using that vertical for a first down. The sophomore at 6'3" will use that upper body strength and height to pick up that first down for North Penn, giving them a fresh set of downs. However, this ball will come loose after the handoff was unsuccessful, and LaSalle will recover the ball. Tonight, their 6th forced turnover. And my goodness. Unsuccessful for the Knights. Their offense, once again, LaSalle's defense laying the hammer on the Knights at their home turf of Crawford Stadium. The boys in navy blue and gold helmets have thrived here at Crawford Stadium and will walk out of here with a Week 2 victory, starting their season off both games on the road at 2-0.
And I don't think it's as much. I mean, don't get me wrong. All of the respect, and LaSalle deserves this win. But I don't think it's necessarily what LaSalle did. It's more what North Penn didn't do in this game.
You talk about the miscues, the 6 turnovers to the opposing team. You're not going to win any ball game. NFL, high school, nothing if you're putting up that kind of a poor performance. And I concluded Week 1's broadcast last Friday night saying that North Penn is looking to build off of a little home court advantage here in the early weeks of the 2019 season, with 3 home games in the first 4 weeks of their season. And Prashant, what can you say a successful start would do for a team? The Knights not going to be able to do that tonight, as they will walk out of their home turf standing at 1-1. What would that do for a team? But if you're LaSalle, both of their games to kick off the 2019 season are on the road, and they're going to go back to their home turf next week at 2-0. What does that do for a team without even having a single snap on their home field in front of their home crowd?
Well, after Week 2, it's no longer early in the season anymore in football. And the teams that say, all right, it's no longer early in the season, are the teams that have pressure.
And here's how he'll break free, and with no Knight in the secondary to answer, it will be the freshman, Mal Howell, number 1, finding his way with another burst of speed for LaSalle. And even the freshmen are getting in on the action. The underclassmen playing an impact for LaSalle tonight, laying their mark on this game and just continuing to apply the gas pedal on North Penn.
And as I was saying before, you know, the good teams, and when you're thriving and you're off to a 2-0 start, they don't say it's no longer early in the season, because they don't have to. They just have to keep doing what they're doing. This LaSalle defense just needs to keep doing what they're doing. They gave up 12 points last week, 6 points this week. And if you're North Penn or any team feeling pressure going into that third week, those are teams that say, all right, it's no longer an early season. We can't be making these mistakes like they did tonight.
And the extra point is good.
The extra point put up by John O'Donnell, the senior, for the LaSalle Explorers, as the backups and the second teams entered the game for LaSalle, and they will continue to put up a performance and tack on a 42-point offensive output in this Week 2 matchup here at Crawford Stadium. Visiting the Knights on their home turf, LaSalle will flourish with a 42-6 lead here in our second half of action with a minute 57 left on our fourth quarter of play. And Prasham, as the broadcast gets set to wrap up and this game gets set to dwindle away, what are your final thoughts on this game? And if you're North Penn getting ready to watch film on this game, what were the biggest struggles you saw tonight? And something that was rather unique where North Penn was unsuccessful compared not only to the Week 1 matchup but also past seasons as a whole, where no kind of performance like this for an opposing team was able to come in here tonight and flourish as they did.
Well, I'm sure every person on that North Penn sideline would agree. There's a lot to work on, but let's go with the biggest one. Last week I said all the question marks regarding the offensive line were answered. That's a clean slate now. That offensive line has to go back
To the
to a
drawing
clean
board.
slate. Yep. And they have to earn their spots now to start and get playing time, because this was, I'm sure they would agree with me, an embarrassing performance.
Embarrassing, the words right out of my mouth, something I would definitely have used there. 42-6. LaSalle will get set to kick it away left to right to the Knights, as they will get set to receive on your right side of your screen in their white and Columbia jerseys and uniforms. A chip shot into the arms of Justin DePietro will be received, and he will be wrapped up once again. LaSalle just laying on the hits as they have all night, and right there it will be the offense stepping back onto the field for North Penn. And as Prasham just pointed out, if you look onto the track along the sidelines, you see the story of tonight. Colby Barrow and Evan Spann, the key names to flourish last week, who were hyping up along the sidelines as the Knights walked off with that Week 1 victory. They now sit at the trainer's table getting aided here. Colby Barrow with looks to be ice pack on his left ankle. Evan Spann beaten up in this game. Two key seniors that you're going to always want to see on the field in your games, flourish in the games you play, but also anything but on the sidelines in the trainer's room injured at all.
Yeah, you had Ken Grain, Justin DePietro, two key names last week going down, and another two key names going down this week, and we'll see if that affects them going forward.
So it looks like the trainers at North Penn will be just as busy as Coach Beck and the coaching staff watching film on this game, trying to work out all the nooks and crannies and the overall disappointing performance from the game tonight.
Number 25, Donovan Williams.
So as 40 seconds now counting down to 39 as Donovan Williams with the carry on along the sidelines. He's able to pick up a first down and move the chains. A name we didn't quite mention much tonight, the underclassman Donovan Williams making an impact here late. Somewhat of a look towards the bright future of North Penn football, as he will make his carry and pick up a first down with 23 seconds and the rest of the clock ticking away here on the Friday nights at Crawford Stadium. Zeltz will hand it off in the backfield, and the story of tonight, Kalani Eaton wrapped up. The offensive line will be immediately engulfed over by the defensive line, and this game will conclude as the clock will expire and the LaSalle Explorers will walk into Crawford Stadium tonight. Both teams standing at 1-0 after Week 1 matchups and victories. The Explorers will dominate this one on the road. Their back-to-back road games, they will pick up 2 early season wins as they will get set to have their first snaps on their home field in Week 3 with a 2-0 record heading into Week 3. For the Knights, they will walk out of Crawford Stadium where they will finish off 1-1 in their first 2 weeks of the season and get set to hit the road in Week 3. So following tonight's Week 2 loss for the Knights, North Penn will hit the road to Pennsbury High School to go toe-to-toe with the Falcons and look to rebound in Week 3, while the Explorers will host Malvern Prep under their home Friday Night Lights. Thanks for tuning in to our coverage tonight and keeping with us for all the action at Crawford Stadium as we sign off. Make sure to tune in and read up on Prashant Jobanputra's article on the Night Criers site recapping all the action tonight. And also make sure to follow up and tune in to Cooley and Jess on Deck on North Penn's YouTube channel to check out all what's going on with North Penn Fall Sports. Thanks for watching tonight's game and tuning in to all the action on North Penn Television's channel. For Prashant Jobanputra, I'm Eric Jesberger. Thanks for watching tonight, and for one last time, the LaSalle Explorers, the final score, the Explorers 42, your North Penn Knights 6. As the Explorers will flourish to 2-0, the Knights will be at 1-1 to kick off their 2019 seasons. Thanks for watching tonight's game, and have a good night, everybody.